Ford has given their new Maverick Lobo a track mode. Yes, a truck with a track mode. It's a lowered sport compact pickup that thinks it belongs on the racetrack, but it's got the suspension, brakes, and tires to back it up. In this episode, we're going to find out if Ford's Wolf has any bite. What's it like? Buckle up, my friends. Let's go for a drive. I'm your host, Brian Makse Racer, lover of driving fast, fun things. And on this channel, you get reviews for drivers from drivers. At the heart of this Lobo is Ford's resurrection of the sport compact truck category, a category that died so thoroughly that most people under 30 don't even know it existed. In this episode, we're driving this Maverick Lobo at Ford Canada's launch event, and we've got some different driving environments to experience this Lobo. And before we get into what it's like to drive, let's have a look at it in a little more depth. What Ford's done here is taken their perfectly sensible compact pickup and given it a makeover reserved for the hero car in the Fast and the Furious film, minus the neon underglow. But seriously though, there's a lot of performance engineering that's gone into this Lobo, so pay attention. Under the hood is the 2-liter EcoBoost 4-cylinder with a turbo on it, so it makes 250 horsepower at 5,500 RPM and 277 pounds of torque at 3,000 RPM. Transmission's a 7-speed automatic with paddle shifters on the back of the steering wheel. This is 4-wheel drive with a twin-clutch rear diff with torque vectoring that's specifically tuned for the Lobo. Suspension settings are all Lobo as well. Lobo-specific springs lower at front and rear, and it sits about 0.8 inches lower than a regular Maverick. And overall roll stiffness is up by about 30%. Steering is specific to the Lobo as well. The rack comes from the Makse because it's quicker than other Maverick steering racks, plus it's been calibrated specifically for the Lobo. Brakes are upgraded as well. 2-piston front calipers from the European Ford Focus ST with upgraded brake pads. The Lobo gets the same upgraded cooling system as other Mavericks with the 4K towing package. Wheels are these stunners. They're specific to the Lobo, as are the tires. Towing capacity is 2,000 pounds. Payload is a little over 1,000 pounds. Curb weight is a little over 3,800 pounds. And indeed, it does have a track mode. It's called Lobo mode, and it backs off stability and traction control, so you're going to have more fun when the roads or the track get more interesting. Did you know that 80% of you are not subscribed? Yes, it's true. 80% of you are not subscribed. I checked the data. So if you like the content on this channel, do me a solid, hit that subscribe button, make sure you like this. And if you want to support the channel, please hit up our merch store. Links here, links below. Lots of great stuff for driving enthusiasts like us, including our very popular line of Save the Manuals merch. Now back to your regularly scheduled episode. Behind the wheel, what I'm finding is this interior is like if a Focus RS and Home Depot had a baby together, a very, very comfortable baby. Best thing about the seating position is that this is not an F-150 and I don't have to climb up into it. The hip point is nice and low because this is a compact pickup after all. Once I'm here behind the wheel, I'm set up perfectly. I've got a great relationship to the steering wheel and to the pedals. Really dig the shape and size of the steering wheel. Love the stitching all throughout the cabin, but it's a nice touch here on the steering wheel as well. I did read Ford's press release on this Lobo, and they did talk about how these seats have some additional bolstering. And what I would suggest is there's not quite enough bolstering for the amount of lateral G's that you can induce with this Lobo. Ergonomically, there's not much difference between this Lobo and any other Maverick. The controls are very straightforward, simple, and that's the way Ford likes to do it. So if you're coming from something else, you don't have to experience any kind of learning curve when it comes to understanding how all the ergonomics work. When you're here behind the wheel, visibility is excellent in all directions. You've got parking cameras, so you can easily park this thing, no trouble at all. Fun fact, even though this Lobo has a very specific performance focus, they've still retained all of the Maverick's clever storage solutions, because even wannabe racing drivers need to know that there are other places for their sunglasses other than the top of their heads. In terms of acceleration, this is the quickest Maverick you can buy. does 0 to 60 in about 6 seconds or so, and that has to do with what's going on with the entire drivetrain. That 0 to 60 time puts this in the same category as things like the Volkswagen GTI or the Subaru WRX, with the added ability to bring home a big haul from Home Depot.
In addition to all the other changes, they've actually engineered the exhaust to produce a satisfying growl under acceleration. Yes, there's a little sound augmentation that comes through the sound system, but from the driver's seat, it sounds much better than my own wheezing after climbing a few flights of stairs. The 7-speed automatic is tuned specifically for this Lobo. In sport mode, it downshifts more eagerly than a politician backpedaling after a hot mic incident, and it holds gears long enough to extract every last horsepower from the engine on the way up to redline. And the paddle shifters actually do something in this truck, which is refreshing in an era where most are as functional as elevator close buttons. Yes, 0 to 60 takes about 6 seconds, and perhaps the most important aspect of this truck's performance is how it puts the power down. The all-wheel drive system has torque vectoring that's smarter than most Harvard grads, capable of sending power to the wheel with grip faster than news spreads about celebrity breakups. The result is acceleration that defies both physics and common sense. A compact pickup simply shouldn't be able to go this quickly in a straight line while making the driver feel like they've got everything under control. The diff in this Lobo has been tuned to transfer up to 70% of the torque to the wheel with traction, or as Ford's lawyers insist on calling it, the system that in no way encourages drifting in empty parking lots. And fun fact, despite having enough power to embarrass sports cars from a decade ago, the Lobo can achieve 26 miles per gallon on the highway, proving that Ford engineers understand that sport truck buyers also check the fuel economy box when cross-shopping vehicles.
When it comes to handling, as soon as you start rolling this Maverick Lobo, you know that the suspension is stiffer all the way around. There's no question about that, but surprisingly, it's not a punishing ride.
Sure, there are some compromises with ride quality, and it's noticeably firmer than the standard Maverick. And it's not punishing, but it is honest, a constant reminder that performance rarely comes without sacrifice. Think of it as the difference between watching a Marvel movie and an art house film. One cushions you from reality, while the other one gets you right in the feels.
On the road, I've been impressed with two things. One is the steering. It's very strong on center, which I appreciate. Not a lot of feel or feedback is coming through the steering wheel. Of course, it is electrically assisted. The other thing I'm really impressed with is the brake pedal for two reasons. It's got a reasonably high pedal effort, which I appreciate, but also those pads have a tremendous amount of bite.
Braking performance borders on alarming, not because it's bad, but because it's so unexpectedly good that you'll find yourself approaching corners at speed that make your passengers question both your skills and their life choices. During these laps, there's virtually no fade even after repeated hard braking, which is impressive considering this is still fundamentally a 3,800-pound truck. And never mind, brake feel and control is 10 out of 10 for me. Ford hasn't just moved the goalpost for truck braking performance, they've taken them to an entirely different stadium.
Actually really impressed with the way this package comes together in terms of steering response. The balance is lovely. Happy with how the transmission shifts. Accelerates quickly here. You know, it's very planted. There's not a lot of body roll. Very impressed with that as well. Incredible that we've got a Maverick here that is able to hustle around an autocross course. Very impressive. You know what? Here's the thing. I'm able to be incredibly precise with this, both in terms of steering and braking. This is wild that a Maverick can do this. That's round one done, and we'll be back for round two shortly. So this is round two in the Lobo, and it's gotten a little more damp, but this thing is still incredibly responsive. Very happy with how this works. I mean, there we go. Yeah, like I can get this to rotate on exit when I'm adding some power. Yeah. Jump on the brakes. The balance under braking is incredible. I'd love to drive this on a more high-speed circuit so that I could really play with it, but I'm very happy with this. It does a fantastic job on this little circuit. So I can imagine on some back roads, on your favorite canyon roads, this thing would be a blast to drive. The way everything comes together here works wonderfully. Yeah, it does upshift for you if you approach red line, but other than that, I really have no complaints about the way this handles. The brake pedal, exceptionally well resolved. I've got great control and modulation, and again, it's got a little bit more pedal effort, so it just works perfectly for me. I am just in awe that they've taken the Maverick, done things like the Tremor, where you've got an off-road version, and then done this Lobo to satisfy drivers like us. But indeed, here we are, and they have done an excellent job with this thing. It's just a blast, and anything that paints a smile on my face, I'm very happy with, and this Maverick Lobo definitely does that.
The most shocking thing about the Lobo isn't how it accelerates or the exhaust note or how it looks, it's how it handles. Ford has somehow exercised the pickup truck genes from this Maverick's handling DNA and replaced them with hot hatch chromosomes. Body roll is dramatically reduced, almost eliminated, like those before and after pictures of celebrities who discovered Ozempic. Turn-in is surprisingly immediate and precise, with none of the delay or slop you'd expect from any truck. It's like discovering your normally reliable and very friendly Labrador Retriever can actually perform advanced calculus. The same friendly package, but with capabilities you never imagined possible.
How do you spec yours? Well, thankfully, it's refreshingly straightforward in an era where every car configurator has more options than a Starbucks order.
What you are looking at is a 2025 Ford Maverick Lobo. You see one in Oxford white, another with Velocity blue paint, black roof, and Active X interior. Base price in the US is $35,930, and as tested, it's $41,425. In Canada, base price is $41,800, and as tested, this is $47,800. And these prices are before freight, taxes, fees, etc. In terms of choices, there aren't many, thankfully. You have 4 paint color options, and it does look stunning in this Oxford white as well as this Velocity blue. This one's equipped with a 702A option package, which includes lots of creature comforts, the Copilot 360 Assist 2.0, and the Bang & Olufsen sound system, as well as these turbofan wheels. You can get a more traditional spoked wheel finished in black for your Lobo.
In a world filled with many $100,000 pickups, it's almost reasonable. It's kind of like finding a $15 cocktail in Manhattan and calling it a bargain. My verdict? Well, that question of whether a sport compact truck needs a track mode, well, I can say the answer to that question is a resounding yes, and it's probably for reasons that Ford's marketing department doesn't fully understand yet.
The combination of its lowered stance, completely revised suspension, brakes, and steering transform this into a truck that can genuinely hustle. The way that rear diff vectors torque actively helps rotate the truck through corners in a way that defies its practical bed and 4 doors. Is it a track weapon? Not quite, but it is very much at home at smaller racing circuits. It's a genuinely entertaining vehicle that happens to be able to haul your weekend project materials, and that's a combination that works far better than it has any right to. Ford hasn't just created a truck with a track mode, they've created a practical performance vehicle that doesn't take itself too seriously, and it's a great reminder that we shouldn't either.
I think this Lobo is the most practical sports car, or the sportiest practical car you can buy in the market today, and that firmly puts it in a category of 1. Thanks for hanging out with me today and having a look at this new 2025 Ford Maverick Lobo. Hope you liked this episode, and if you did, you're not new, you know what to do. Smash the subscribe button, turn on your notifications, like this, and as always, sharing is caring. So please share this with your friends, especially on Reddit, because on Reddit, they really need to see reviews for drivers from drivers. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And if you want to support the channel, please hit up our merch store. Links here, links below. Lots of great stuff for driving enthusiasts like like us, including our very popular line of Save the Manuals merch, and Ford still makes some fine manuals. Thanks, Ford. Anyway, thanks again for watching. We'll see you again next time, and remember, cars don't understeer by themselves, not even Ford Maverick Lobos.